Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm not going to be making some soap, but I am going to be doing some packaging and I want to show you how I do it, so maybe it gives you some ideas. Okay, so what you see in front of you is my melt and pour range and the cold process range. This is the end result for the melt and pour. It's a tiny little box with the melt and pour inside. You can see that that is the soap inside. So people can see it if it's colourful enough. That is the actual soap. It is wrapped in a plastic and sealed, so it's not going to sweat. That is the label, and that is the box, which is this one. And these are the bags that I use. They are 100 millimeters by 150 millimeters. In centimeters, that would be 10 centimeters by 15 centimeters. At the bottom here we have the cold process range. This is the final product for the black raspberry vanilla. It is shrink wrapped all the way around. I just put my glove on. That is the bar that we're going to be wrapping today. It's a beautiful bar of black raspberry vanilla. To give you an idea, the bar is roughly 9 centimeters tall, just over 5 centimeters wide, and 1 inch thick. So unfortunately, I can't put the cold process bars in these boxes. They just don't fit. So as you can see, they don't fit. So we have to shrink wrap them, and I've got a label which is also cut down because the bar is not the box. The label needs to be a little bit smaller. So here is a normal layer for the melt and pour, and here is a cold process label. And as you can see, it's a tiny bit smaller just because there's no box. And also the ingredients goes on the back rather than the top. These bags are 14 centimeters by 20 centimeters. And I'll show you how I put the soap inside in just a second. Okay, so for my melt and pour, this is the final result as I was showing you. That's what we're going to be doing. This soap is going to go into this bag. I'm just going to sit the soap upright. I've created this little pickup tool. It's just a box that I have made exactly 1 inch wide for the soap. And I don't want to mark the bag as it's sliding through. So I'm going to grab my little tool like this, and I'm going to slide it over the top of the soap, and then I'm going to pick it up. Now, as you can tell, I'm not touching the soap at all, but it gives me the option to put it into the bag and slide it right to the bottom. So as you can see, it's in the bag right at the bottom, and then I can just pull the tool out. And that way I haven't marked the bag. It's nice and clear. There's no marks of soap going down it. Make sure it's at the bottom and in the center, and I just fold that over. I grab some sticky tape. Usually I do the sticky tape part after I take my gloves off, but in this case, put it on there. Now that is enough to seal the soap, but you may experience that you need to maybe seal that a little bit more. These are the boxes that I've purchased. I'm going to leave a link to everything in the description so you can go and purchase them if you want to. If you're in Australia, these are great. They're basically folded, so all you have to do is unfold them. Normally this piece here is at the front, but I don't work it that way. I'm going to work it at the back. So I'm going to fold the bottom first. Now normally, like I said, the soap would go in there and you would have the label up above. But I actually like the label on the back, which now becomes the front. So I'm going to take my soap, I'm going to turn it upside down, and I'm just going to fold these little tiny wings on the plastic so it fits in. And it fits in there nicely. So when someone buys this, they can grab this little lip and pull the soap out. Because if it was the other way around, they wouldn't be able to grab it, they'd have to force it out. So I'm just going to seal that up. Turn this around. As you can see, that's the bottom at the back now. I'm going to take my label. Okay, so I'm just going to take the label off. And I'm going to place it just at the bottom. Fold it over the top. And there you have it. Easy. All the ingredients is at the top. The information about the soap is on the front. Even with these bags the melt and pour is put into, you can still smell the soap. Okay, so that's it for the melt and pour. Let's get on with the cold process. Okay, so for the cold process, it's a very similar process. So I'm going to take the tool that I was using before. I'm going to put it around the cold process soap. As you can see, it's in there. Open up my shrink wrap bag and place it inside. It's inside, and then I just remove the box, and we have the soap inside. Now this is quite a big bag, but I didn't know at the time when I purchased them what size I actually needed. There's a lot of wastage, but next time I'll know to buy a smaller bag size. Okay, so from here we got to heat shrink it down to size. So we're going to remove most of this shrink wrap, and then we can go from there. Okay, so this is 300mm impulse heat sealer, and you can get these from Amazon, you can get them from eBay. They range in a number of different prices. I think this one was about $40, and it came with a couple of extra replacement wires, which is the heat piece that seals the shrink wrap. So I'm going to leave a link to all of them in the description, and you can go through and find the one that's right for you, because this one is 300mm long, so 30 centimeters, but there are ones that are 20 centimeters and there are ones that are like 60 centimeters. So it all depends on what you want to use it for. Some of these heat and cut, and some of them just heat, and that also depends on what you use. And for me, I use 7. So down here on the dial, I put it on 7. So we're going to take our soap that's in the shrink wrap bag, and we're going to cut the top off first of all. So we're just going to push down, and as you can see, they didn't quite cut it off. We can just rip that off and just shrink that little bit. That's fine. And then we can do the other side. Okay, as you can see, that side, it cut off that little bit. Okay, so that's the end of that tool, because I'm only doing one of these to show you. So we have our soap here, it's in our bag, and we're going to shrink wrap it. Now in order to do that, we're going to need this heat tool. Now this is a embossing heat tool, I believe. Mine has gone through the works. It's got resin and mica paint, everything all over it. They get dirty. I think this one was around about $20. I've had it for about 5 years. Basically with this, we're going to start off heating around the edges, but we're not going to be right on it. We're going to start a little bit away. So if the soap's there, I'm going to start around about a hand distance away, and I'm going to see what happens, because I don't want the bag to rip from the heat. So if this is your first time using one of these, start off a little bit further away and work your way around it. You can move the actual soap in the bag, and that way you'll be able to tell how far away you need to be in order to heat this. And as you get more experienced with it, you'll know exactly what to do. Okay, so this is noisy. It's like a hairdryer. So I'm going to turn it on, and I'm going to do a little bit, and then I'll turn it off and show you what happens. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to start off around the edges, and as you can see, it's starting to melt. And I just glide over the top of it. And I'll bring you up to it. I'm hoping you can see that. and all the little wrinkles are starting to disappear. And I'm just going over them one at a time. I'll explain that a little bit more. I'm not just putting the heat gun on there and going around like this. I'm like almost gliding past it because I don't want the actual shrink wrap to rip. And you'll notice too that it creates very sharp bits of plastic. This plastic, when heated, will go solid, and it creates very sharp little pieces. And that won't cut you, but it will scratch you. So you got to be careful with that as well. So the next part of this is I want to flatten all these pieces, but I'm not going to be able to do that with just going over it. I need to rub it against something, and I'm going to use the table. So when I heat one side up, I'm going to rub it along the table, and that will remove all those little bits of plastic and flatten them down. So here we go. As you can see, I'm heating it up, rubbing it on the table. Heating it up, rubbing it on the table. And then I just go over it one more time. And we're done. And as you can see, that's pretty flush now. Like there was a big piece there that was standing up, and as you can see, it's all flush. Nice. Same with the bottom. Same with that side. Look how shiny that is. Beautiful. Nice and shiny. So for the top, if this was flat, I would do the same thing. But for this particular soap, there's a little bit of a bump in there, a little bit of a pattern. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use my finger to just rub it down. Watch. I'm going to go over it. I'm going to use my finger and just push it down. Go over it, push it down with my finger. Okay. So now that's the top. See, even that's smooth. So that's the wrap done. And if you really want to, you could probably leave the top open so people can smell it. For me, I try and choose the pretty side as the back. That's the bit that everyone's going to see. When they look at the soap initially, they're going to see the label, and then they'll turn it over. So I like this side for the actual image, and this side is going to get the label. Okay, so now we're going to take our label, and we're going to remove the back. Okay, so we just got a sticky label. Try and center it the best you possibly can. Alright, so the label is on, and we're going to turn it over. Okay, we're going to put the ingredients on. Just like that. Okay, so this is how I package my soaps: melt and pour and cold process. I'll leave a link down in the description to all the items that I've used here, and hopefully you can get some ideas for your packaging. Thanks very much.